cellists, this is your first lesson on how to sit and hold your cello. And in order to sit and hold your cello, first we need to talk a little bit about how to sit. I realize this may sound a little bit weird, but sitting to hold your cello means sitting up straight and having a good posture where your shoulders and your head are balanced above your hip bones. So what that means on a cello chair is when you sit down, you're sitting on the front of the chair. There's plenty of room behind the chair. You're not leaning against the back. You're not slouching your shoulders over. You're sitting where your hips are rolled forward. Your shoulders and your head are balanced on top of that. Your legs are at a reasonable angle in front of you. Your feet are flat on the floor. You're not reaching your one leg out. You're not curling it underneath you. Your legs are just sitting right out here in front of you. And if you're sitting well with your body balanced, it should be very easy to stand up without leaning too much forward, right? There is a little bit of lean forward, but you should be able to stand up really easily. Whereas if you're hunched over like this, you have to lean forward before you stand up. So we want to sit in that good posture because that is going to make it easier to hold your cello, easier to play your cello, and it's going to make you sound better. So make sure you're not leaning against the back of the chair. There's lots of room. You're sitting on the edge of your chair. Your hips are rolled into a normal spot so that they're rolled forward so that all of your weight of your body is balanced over your hips and you don't have any weird slouchy going on in your back. All right, so now that we've talked about how to sit, let's talk about how to sit with our cello. So this cello that I have here at the elementary school is not big enough for me, so this won't be a perfect demonstration, but I will do my best to show you how this will work even though I'm a little too tall for this sized cello. So in order to sit, first we're going to stand up right in front of our chair, and we're going to hold our cello right in front of us, and we're going to put it on the end pin. Bring your end pin out a little bit, put it on the end pin, and then holding it with your left hand here on the neck, I'm going to have you sit down with your cello right in front of you, okay? Then you're going to lean your cello into yourself, and it's going to lean this part, the right shoulder, the back of your cello right on the right shoulder is going to fit right up against your sternum, okay? That's your breastbone right here in the middle of your ribs. And it's going to sit right here on your sternum, and the neck is going to go out over your left shoulder a little bit. And the goal is to set the length of your end pin to the point that when you bring your cello back, this peg right here, the peg for your C string, is right around your ear level. You don't want the cello all the way down here. You don't want the cello all the way up here. You want it so that this C peg is right about there, because then when you go to put your hand down and play it, you're not reaching up too high or you're not reaching down too low in order to get it. It's a pretty natural arm position. So this C peg right here by your ear, this part of the shoulder leaning right against your breastbone, and then these two corners on the bottom of your instrument. So you've got a corner there, you've got a corner there. The one on your left leg is going to sit right against the inside of your knee, okay? And this is where if I have the corners right on my knees, this is way too low, but just pay attention to right down here for now. This is going to set right against the inside of your knee. You're not squeezing, so it's not going to hurt, but that corner sits right against the inside of your knee, and then the cello actually leans just a little bit over, which means this corner is going to be up kind of over top of my knee a little bit, okay? And my knee actually touches against the bottom round part here. So my knees are actually in the right spot here. If you look, this is way too low for me, but again, this cello is too small for my body. I don't have any full-size cellos here at the elementary. So it's setting on the end pin to the point where I can bring it. It sets against my knees in the right spot, and the upper part is against my breastbone, right in the middle of my body, and then this C peg is right here over the shoulder. Once I get into that position where everything is working nicely, then for now we're not using our left hand. This is going to be the note maker. We're going to be making all sorts of notes over here, but for now I just want you to lay it on the top shoulder of your cello. And now we're going to take our right hand and you're going to make an L with your right hand. You're going to take the thumb of the L, and right here where the fingerboard goes over the top of your instrument, from the end of the fingerboard to right where it gets in the top of your instrument, you're going to kind of divide that in half and put your thumb on the side of the fingerboard right there, halfway down, not all the way down, not all the way up here, kind of halfway over the body. Then you're going to reach around and you're going to pluck your strings. And you notice when I pluck, my elbow needs to come up and around as I go to my highest A string. My elbow has to come around a little bit for me to reach it. But when I'm on my lower string, my elbow is lower, and that's totally fine. That's how you're going to get from string to string. All right, now we're going to start on the highest sounding string, which means reach all the way across, and it's the A string here on the left side. And we're going to pluck that, and we're going to go through the ant song. Now the ant song, we sang it last week, is ants, 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 and they are digging, 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 digging in the ground, 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 all the way to China. And I noticed doing that my G string was a little bit out of tune there. So that will help you feel whether your instrument is in tune or not as you learn the ant song. But let's go through the ant song. You're going to pluck 3 of your A string, ants, ants, ants. Then you're going to move your hand over to the next string, digging, digging, digging. Then the next string, ground, ground, ground. And then to the lowest, thickest, closest to you string, China, China, China. So it's going to be ants, 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 and they are digging, 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 digging in the ground, 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 all the way to China. And that way you will memorize what your string names are, and you will also have a song that will help you hear whether your cello is in tune. So quick review on how to hold your cello. Stand in front of your chair, holding your cello on the ground right in front of it. Sit down on the edge of your chair, sitting up with good posture. Lean the cello back so that this corner is up a little bit above my knee, and this corner on my left side is right against the inside of my knee. The top shoulder in the back is going to lean right against my breastbone. Then up here, the peg is going to be close to where my ear level is. It's actually behind my ear a little bit. You don't want it out touching your ear or in your ear, but a little bit behind your ear. And that puts you in a really good position to be successful in playing the cello. To adjust your end pin when you're starting here, you are probably going to have to play with this a little bit. You'll try it a little bit, and then you'll go get all set up, and it'll be too low. And then you'll have to unscrew it and move it a little bit, and then tighten it down, and then try it again until you get it in the right spot. Every chair you sit in is at a slightly different height, so you have to kind of learn how to get the cello in the right spot and then adjust the end pin until it will work. As you get better at it, you'll start to learn just about how much end pin you'll need. You'll be able to see it by sight and then make a final adjustment. Just bring it up, set it kind of on your knee, reach around and undo it, and tighten it up until you get to the right spot. But that's what we're here to learn first, making sure your cello is in a good playing position so that as you get your left hand mechanics and we start making notes, and then your right hand mechanics, that everything is in the right spot. If your cello is too low, then all of a sudden my bow is ready to go, but my bow needs to cross the strings all the way here. If you put the cello in the right spot, that's right where your bow is going to cross the string. That's one of the reasons we are doing this. So make sure you do your cello in the right spot with the right amount of end pin. Get very, very used to doing that. It does sit on my knees, so as I'm playing the cello, between where it's touching me here against my body and between my 2 knees, I have pretty good control of the cello. I'm not gripping it, I'm not clenching it with my knees, it's just leaning there. But I have pretty good control of my cello. It's almost like it's my dance partner and we're dancing together. Like I can move a little bit with my cello and it just holds right there in place. And you want to have that where it's just sitting right there with you and you feel like you have control of it. And that is very important. One of the important things about playing the cello is if you lean back and you are no longer holding this up against your body and you go to put your fingers down, now all of a sudden your knees are a pivot point, and pulling down like this is going to pull the end pin off of the ground, and then your cello is going to go like this, and that's where this peg comes and whacks you in the back of the head, and it's going to hurt. So please make sure you're connected with your cello in all 3 spots. That way you don't hurt yourself. None of us like getting whacked in the back of the head by a C peg. It hurts. I've done it. So that's how to hold your cello. Have fun this week. I'm looking forward to next week when we actually have a lesson together and we can play. Make sure you can hold your cello well, because then when we go to play some songs, you're not going to have to worry about getting all of this straightened out. So practice that this week. Have a great week.